What's up guys, welcome back. It's Lauren here, and in this week's episode I'm going to be showing you how I created this pinky balayage using the Pulpriot rapid toners and intermixing them with Faction 8. So this is my client Tanya's before. She's got lots of regrowth there and her hair is super long, so we're going to work on lightening up her roots, giving her a nice trim. I probably haven't touched her hair in over a year, so this is going to be a big project. Alrighty, so let's get into the lightning. So here I am balayaging her first, and I went ahead and did some back-to-back chunky weaves on the bottom, but here as I get to the crown, this top area, this is where I start to leave dimension, and I feel like even though these weaves are thicker, leaving the dimension, it kind of blends it out a little bit more, and I like to do this a lot on dark hair opposed to doing baby lights because I feel like baby lights kind of get lost with dark hair. So with dark hair, I like to do thick weaves, and if they want that slight more blended baby light look, I will just leave more negative space to kind of overlay on top of these chunky weaves. And overall, when the hair is all down and straight, it will appear as if they have baby lights with more negative space in between each of these sections. And when I do these chunky weaves, as I get to the crown area here, I won't do it any chunkier than these 4 strands here. Sometimes I will do maybe like 5 and make this a little less chunky, but this is probably the chunkiest I would make it to create this more solid look overall. The plus side of doing chunky weaves on dark hair is that when you go back in and do a retouch the next time she comes in, it's very easy to pick up the pieces that you left out this session so that you don't overlap onto the previous blonde that she already has. Because I feel like if you do baby lights, sometimes going back in, it's a little bit difficult with dark hair to pick out all of the light pieces that you left out, so this just makes it easier and overall gives the effect of slight baby lights on dark hair. So as I get to this top triangle section, these first 2 foils I always like to do back to back with no negative space in between, and then I will leave some negative space on the foils above it. This is because I want this bottom section that is underneath the section that has dimension to be solid so that the balayage overall appears solid on the ends. As I take my sections in the front, I will do these chunky as well, and I will go back to back foil chunky weave all the way up to her recession. So the reason why I like to take these sections pretty solid, a heavy weave without any negative space, is because I want the most amount of blonding on these bottom sections because they lay on the bottom. And as I get to the top and above the recession, I will create more dimension. So when that dimension lays over these solid pieces, it gives the illusion that the ends are solid and the top is more blended. And for the size of the weave on the side, I usually will do 3 strands for each weave until I get to her recession. Once I reach her recession, I move over and do the same on the other side until I reach the recession on the other side of the head, and then I proceed to do the money piece after that. And I like doing it this way to keep the hair balanced in a sense, because we are lightening the hair, so if I were to just do one side and then move on to the other side, then one side would definitely be lighter. So my goal is to always keep the hair balanced and even as possible, so I like to do a portion of one side before moving on to the next side. So since my client parts her hair in the middle, I went ahead and made sure to foil beyond her part before moving on to the other side of the head to make sure that that gets as blonde as possible, because it will overlay over everything since she parts in the middle. And as I get to the top section here, I will be leaving more dimension in between my chunky weaves to create a blend on the very top at her root. And here you can see on the bottom, I like to pick out the blonde pieces so that I don't overlay on any blonde. So since I'm going to be toning with some Factionate, I went ahead and grabbed the color book here to help me decide how much booster I was going to be adding into my formula. There you can see the ash and the violet, and the magenta is pretty pigmented, and this was really helpful when I was trying to pick out the ratio of what I wanted to add into my formula. So for Tanya's root shade, I used 422 and 102. I wanted the depth of 422, but I didn't want it as dark as a level 4, so I added some 102. And then I mixed these 1 to 2 with 6 Vol. Then for the mid formula, I mixed up 422 Violet Rapid Toner and some Dash 11 to make it a little bit more ashy. And I mixed these all 1 to 1 with 6 Vol. And then for her end formula, I used Rose Gold and a drop of Dash 66, and I mixed this 1 to 2 with 6 Vol. And here you can see I lifted Tanya's hair to about a level 9 and 10, and this is so that these colors fade nicely. For this color application, I went ahead and brought Tanya back to my station to apply her color because I was going to leave it on for about like 15-20 minutes. So I went ahead and based her with the darker formula, leaving out the hairline to tone that last. And when I tone out the hairline, I just kind of tap the root, but here I'm leaving about an inch of shadow root to deepen the color and blend out these highlights. And as I'm applying this root shade, you can see that as I take this first section in the front, I try to take it as far back as possible so that I can cover more head space. This saves time, and I like to do this when I do my base retouches on my clients as well, so that when I get to the back section, I can just take that whole back section as one instead of two. This saves a lot of time opposed to when doing these types of base colors and dividing up the head into 4. I only divide the head up into 3 sections. And then I always like to do the hairline here where the money piece is last because I want the section to be the lightest. And then once I was done applying the root shade, I went ahead and started applying the mid-tone, and I combed out each section before applying the color to create a nicer blend and made sure that I fully saturated each section. And when applying the second tone, I applied it starting in the front as well. I like to do this because if I run out of color as I get towards the back, it's no big deal. I can mix up, and that way the front stays balanced. And then I went ahead and gave the money piece a slightly longer root with the mid-tone. Once I was done applying the lighter tone on the ends, I went ahead and just did some pinch tests to check the level and tone of the color, and then after that I probably let this sit on for about like 5-10 minutes once everything was done. And then once she was done processing, I washed off the color with some cold water and then cleansed off the color with the Bangkok shampoo and Tokyo conditioner from Pulpriot. And to finish everything off, I went ahead and styled her with a 1 1/4 barrel. And look how luscious her hair is. This is all of her natural hair with no extensions. And we were able to create this beautiful rosy tone using Factionate and intermixing it with the Rapid Toners. I love that I can use Factionate and the Rapid Toners as a different alternative from the normal semis to create these fashion tones. I feel like this gives the hair a lot of shine and longevity with the color. I always tell my clients when they go home to make sure that they wash with cold water still and to wash with a sulfate-free shampoo. Also, here's a nice close-up of the color at the root. There you can see, even though we did slight chunky weaves and leaving the dimension in between the chunky weaves, it still gives a nice blend and kind of gives a slight baby light effect to the balayage. And I really love how the root shade blended so nicely into the medium and lighter tone that we used here. You can see there that the blend is super seamless. There's no harsh lines at all, and everything just looks like a great color melt. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, and if you guys have tried intermixing the rabbit toners with Factionate, how you like them, and what your favorite formulas are. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in to this week's episode, and I will talk to you guys next week.